Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Absolute Falcon Cinema. In case y'all are new here, I'm your host, Caleb, and this is the place where I talk everything movies and the art of cinema. Today, it is New Movie Friday, which means that there is a handful of new movies released in theaters right now. In particular, today, the new Animal Farm remake was released. It's directed by Andy Serkis, and it's from a studio that's called Angel Studios. And this project has always been sort of perplexing to me because Angel Studios in particular is like a conservative Christian studio. And the fact that they tackle a project like Animal Farm, I can kind of see why they latch onto it because it's like an anti-communist work, but still, it's a baffling decision, especially from their end to promote a movie like this, especially with Andy Serkis among other big names. Like I think Matt Damon is tied to it. I could be wrong, but just a really stacked cast as well in the voice actor list. It's very perplexing to me. I may or may not go see it. I don't know. If people say it's not very good, I'm not gonna check it out though. Another horror movie is out today as well. It's called Hokum, and I don't know very much about it, but with horror movies, I find that it's better to go in completely blind because then you don't know what you're going to expect. And typically it's more scarier that way. But anyways, Hokum is an indie movie and stars Adam Scott. I don't know if that name is familiar to any of y'all, but I'm really excited to check it out because I don't know. I'm itching for a good original horror movie, and this seems like one of them. So there's that, and there is Deep Water, which is a movie that is like it's kind of like a plane crash movie, and everyone has to survive. It has Aaron Eckhart as one of the stars in that movie, and Aaron Eckhart is an actor that I know of. He plays Two-Face in the Dark Knight movie. So, I mean, that's really the only appeal this movie has. But other than that, it seems like just another generic, like, disaster survival movie. Like, even the poster, I'm looking at the poster right now, it's recreating, like, the Jaws movie poster. So, whatever. But most notably, I know a lot of people have been talking about the Michael Jackson movie lately, the musical biopic. And I haven't seen it yet. I'm kind of waiting until the hype dies down to go watch it and see how it is. I've heard mixed reviews from people, so I'm going to go check it out eventually. And when I do, I will post a podcast episode about musical biopics, going over some of the most important musical biopics, the ones that I have seen, and just sort of going over the genre and seeing whether or not like it's really an important genre to follow in movies right now. So those are the movies that have came out recently, but 2026 is showing up to be a very stacked slate of releases for us. In particular, there's the new Avengers movie, the new Spider-Man movie, the third Dune movie, a new Christopher Nolan movie. Just so many big projects in the works for studios. And I, for one, am really excited to talk about them today. I have a list of my most anticipated movies of 2026 in front of me. So without further ado, let's just go over them. So to start off, I have the new Christopher Nolan movie, The Odyssey, and I have been excited for this ever since it was announced shortly after Oppenheimer that Christopher Nolan was going to direct this film. And Christopher Nolan, if y'all don't know, is one of my favorite directors of all time. He is absolutely influential to my film taste. All of his movies I enjoy. I don't think he's made a single bad movie. And The Odyssey seems to be one of his most ambitious projects. In particular, he has made the creative choice to film 100% of the movie in 70 millimeter IMAX. And Christopher Nolan is one of IMAX's biggest spokespeople. He loves IMAX, uses IMAX in almost all of his more recent movies. And this is, I think, the first like big blockbuster that really has utilized IMAX for all of its filmmaking. Even Oppenheimer, which released I think 3 years ago now, only had about 85% of its movie shot in IMAX. The rest of it was 65 millimeter, like big film, but it wasn't quite the 70 millimeter IMAX. So I don't know if y'all have seen not Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler's breakdown of all the different IMAX film frames, but film itself, like the physical film, is like reels of these like tape like sort of images, and that's why it's called a motion picture. It's basically just a bunch of moving frames that this film camera shoots. And nowadays people are moving more and more over to digital filmmaking because it's much cheaper, but the auteurs, the artistic directors that are sticking to the retro sort of way of filmmaking, the guerrilla way of that films were shot in the old times. They still use physical film, and Christopher Nolan has shot all of his movies on film, including the ones in IMAX. And IMAX is the biggest possible strip of film that you can imagine. That's why the IMAX theater is so big. The screen is 50 foot wide. It's the purest experience of filmmaking. And Christopher Nolan is such a world renowned director. I'm super excited to see what he has in store for the Odyssey. I've never seen him create an adaptation of like a historical work before. Like the Odyssey is a story that's thousands of years old, and something this ambitious, I don't think Christopher Nolan has ever done before. The closest I can really think of is Oppenheimer. So he is broadening his scope. The cast is super stacked, and I am really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good movie. Christopher Nolan has not let me down so far, so we will see how good that is. The that is my number one most anticipated movie of this year. My number two is Dune Part 3. If you know me, I love the Dune movies. I read the Dune book and then I saw the Dune movie, and I was just floored by how accurate they got to the adaptation and how well they executed it. These films are modern masterpieces. The 2020 solution to the Lord of the Rings films, a super ambitious book adaptation that takes place in a big sci-fi world, and they are just some super exciting films, especially for people who are like me who have read the book. And Dune 3 is adapting the Dune Messiah book, which is the second book in the book series. But the first two movies adapted the first Dune book because the first Dune book is just so dense. And I saw Dune Part 2 in theaters when it came out, and that to this day is one of my favorite theatrical experiences. I was getting a little emotional at that theater showing the first time because I was like, wow, they're getting one of my favorite books right. Like, it felt so meaningful to me how they were able to pull it off, and all this passion. I could just feel it reverberating through the screen. And it was such a great experience. And the same people that are behind Dune Part 1 and 2 are doing Dune Part 3. Denis Villeneuve is directing it, one of my favorite sci-fi directors. And here's hoping that he sticks the landing with the third project. It's coming out in December, and I am really, really, really excited for this film. I think it's going to be a noteworthy addition to the slates that we have here. Next up, I have Disclosure Day. This is Steven Spielberg's newest movie. Steven Spielberg is a director that had his prime in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and he has been slowly making more movies throughout the 2000s, and he is known to be one of the greatest directors of our time, really mastering the art of the blockbuster and basically pioneering a lot of the major film techniques that people use to this day. Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest directors to ever live, I think. In my opinion, I think he is really great, super influential as well. One of the most influential directors of our time. And Disclosure Day is a science fiction film. It's another one of Spielberg's stories that he likes to do where aliens come to Earth and we have to communicate with them, except this time it seems like it's more spiritual. It's a little bit weirder, a little bit more downtrodden. It's a little bit bleaker. And he has done previous projects such as War of the Worlds and Close Encounters with the Third Kind, and most notably E.T. Is a very famous one. But he really nails this genre of aliens coming to Earth. Humans have to speak with them. They are either super friendly or they're super hostile, and humans just have to work their way around this new situation that they have them in. And I'm really excited because Josh O'Connor is linked with the project, as well as Emily Blunt, two of some of my favorite actors working today. So there's that. And also, the score is being done by John Williams, which John Williams, if you know him as a composer, he never misses, especially with his soundtracks. They're all super iconic. So I am really looking forward to what he has to offer, especially with this new soundtrack. And yeah, overall, it just looks like a really interesting film. And Spielberg is the director of the movie, and I love all of Spielberg's work. So obviously, I'm super excited. Next up, I have a movie called Wildwood, which is a movie that is going to be stop motion animated. If y'all don't know Leica, if y'all aren't familiar with Leica, the animation studio, they are known for their movies Coraline and Kubo and the Two Strings, to name a few. They are some of the best stop motion animators in the business right now. And this, I'm really excited to watch their newest project just because they have so many great stop motion animated movies in their catalog. And stop motion is an art form that I really, really appreciate. I love the art of stop motion. I actually used to do stop motion with Lego minifigures back in the day. So I have a lot of experience. And stop motion is a very, very time consuming style of animation. And it's a little weird too, but that's why I like it. It's just it makes for some really intriguing cinema. So Wildwood, I don't know very much about the premise other than it's like it takes place in the woods and it's about this person that travels into the woods to search for somebody, and it's got a lot of fantastical elements based on what the trailer had to offer us. But I am really looking forward to it, and I hope that it's just as good. It lives up to their other films. Number 5, Adventures of Cliff Booth. This is a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is one of Quentin Tarantino's newest movies. Oh, Quentin Tarantino's actually his newest movie. And that was pretty good when I went and saw it. It had like a real 60s aesthetic, and Leonardo DiCaprio is really good in that movie, and Brad Pitt is good too. But this new movie is actually going to be directed by David Fincher, and it's going to explore the film industry in the 70s, where the first one explored the film industry in the 60s. The westerns were kind of going the way of the wayside, like they were kind of getting kicked out of the mainstream. And this new movie is going to continue the story of Brad Pitt's leading actor, Cliff Booth. And I'm really interested to see the different shenanigans that he gets into with this film. And he is not going to be in the director's chair. Quentin Tarantino is not going to be in the director's chair this time. It's going to be directed by David Fincher, and but he is writing the movie, and I don't really know how I feel about that. I will see how it goes. I think passing it on to a different director will give it definitely a different style, which might reflect the 70s shift in cinema from more mainstream and studio mandated movies to more original movies with younger filmmakers. And I'm really curious to see how they pull that off. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this movie because I did like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Brad Pitt is still a really talented actor. He seems to get better with age, I feel like. Next up, I have Digger, which is a new movie that was just announced with what was his name? Inaritu is the director's last name. I don't know what his first name is. I can't remember. But he is also the director of the Revenant movie. If y'all ever saw that film a while back, and he is going to be directing this new comedy, apparently an original comedy starring Tom Cruise. And just that premise alone is enough to intrigue me. I think it can go in many different directions. That director is known for directing very like serious projects, but it's a comedy, and so I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with it. Next up, I have Godzilla Minus Zero. This is the sequel to the prequel of which was Godzilla Minus One, which came out 3 years ago. Godzilla Minus One is one of my favorite movies that I saw back in 2023. I think it was one of the first Japanese films I saw, a film that was like completely in Japanese. It's super entertaining. It's such a good Godzilla story, but also just a good movie, you know? It's like it makes you really care for the characters so that you're less focused on Godzilla and more of like, is this guy going to make it out of here with his wife? And I think it's going to have the Minus Zero is going to have the same characters and the same director. So I'm sure it's going to be another good time. But I'm going to go see that opening weekend for sure. Number 8, Sunrise on the Reaping, the new Hunger Games movie. I haven't read the book yet. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read the book yet. But with so many A-list actors tied to the project and how popular the Hunger Games movies have gotten, especially with the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I am really interested to see what this movie has to offer. Hopefully, I can sneak in the book before the movie comes out. It doesn't come out until November, so hopefully I can read the book before then. Next up, I have Resident Evil. It's a remake, and it's based on the famous video game. And at first, I heard that this project was announced, and I wasn't really interested. They had made a couple of other Resident Evil movies in the past, and I heard they weren't very good, so I was just kind of like, whatever. And then I saw the director that was being linked to the project, and the director name is Zach Kreger. And if you don't know him, Zach Kreger also directed the new Barbarian movie that came out, as well as Weapons, which was one of my favorite movies of last year. And I'm just interested to see what he has to offer to this project, which is just a remake of a video game. Video game adaptations don't necessarily have the greatest reputation, but I'm very curious to see how it will turn out, especially with a director as good as him linked with the project. Next up, we have Sheep Detective, and it is a brand new movie that's actually coming out this month, in the month of May. And it's got Hugh Jackman in it, and it's also got it's a really interesting premise where it's Hugh Jackman's character gets murdered, and he is a shepherd. So all of the sheep are talking, and they have to solve this crime. Just talking about it, it's such a funny premise, but it's the animals are like live action CG animals, and Hugh Jackman is like just like a real he's just acting physically in the movie. So it sounds like a premise that would be like work good for like an animated movie, right? But it's live action, and I'm curious to see how that is, especially since the new like reviews have been coming in for the movie, and people are saying it's like really good apparently. I'm not quite sure who directs it. I think I can't remember exactly what they were tied with, but or what projects they made in the past. But it's just an interesting enough premise that it seems like it would be an interesting time. Next up is Supergirl, and I really loved the Superman movie of last year. And while it's not a James Gunn project, I saw the trailer and it looks like it's going to be more sci-fi, which sci-fi is really up my alley. So I'm hoping it's really good. And yeah, that's all I have on my list right now. I know Avengers Doomsday is coming out. I think that's like the biggest, most anticipated movie of this year. But I'm not quite invested in Marvel movies anymore. Avengers Doomsday, especially like the material that has been used to promote the movie, has just been very lackluster for me personally. On top of that, you have the onslaught of AI images of like set photos, like behind the scenes, all these cast members when you can tell it's like super fake. That has really been plaguing the internet right now, and it's really discouraged my sort of hype for that movie. They're keeping it under wraps, and I know they're trying to keep it under wraps because it's like a big project. But if you're going to not build a lot of hype around it and leave that room to AI, just like ruining like all the different projects or all the different hype from the fans, it's just I don't know. I'm not as connected with this project as well as Doomsday, Spider-Man Brand New Day, the new Spider-Man movie. I think it'll be a decent project. But again, I'm not as big of a Marvel fan anymore, so I saw this trailer and I kind of went, "Meh." Like it looks okay. It looks like another Marvel movie, but I have heard people online talking about how they are a little disappointed with the look of the trailer. And obviously, you can't judge an entire movie based on a single trailer, but Tom Holland has said in interviews in the past that they filmed it make it look like a New York street, and they made it look more down to earth. When the trailer doesn't really reflect that, it's kind of looks like it still looks like a sound stage where people are just kind of like standing around, and it doesn't really feel as lived in as some of the cast and crew members have been marketing the movie to be, been going on interviews, teasing the movie to be like. So I've heard a little bit of disappointment from people. I don't know. I think it'll be good because the cast seems pretty good, and all the casting, all the villains. I don't know. It just for me, the trailer gave off the same sort of feeling that like just kind of like a studio blockbuster would feel, where the colors are or where the overall look of the film is just very gray, and so I'm not as interested in those two Marvel projects, even though I know a lot of people are. I don't know. I might check out the Spider-Man one, but I don't think I'll check out Avengers Doomsday just out of spite for Marvel. They seem to have been getting on the right track, especially with the new Thunderbolts movie that came out last year and the Fantastic Four movie, both of which were good projects that really focused on individual characters and told a singular story that was like closed off from the rest of the universe. And I think that should be the direction that Marvel takes from now on, instead of trying to build up to this really grand project, which really they have been so directionless in the past couple of years that it really hasn't worked in their favor. So the announcement of Doomsday kind of came off to me as like, okay, so this studio is taking one step forward and then two steps back with this big Doomsday project. And I mean, I could go on about how frustrated I am with Doomsday, which is like they cast Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, the villain, which seemed like a really desperate move at the time when they announced it. But on top of that, we still haven't seen a single piece of footage of Doctor Doom. At least with the Infinity Saga, when we were teasing Thanos as the next big villain, we showed him in like pop up in past movies, and it's just frustrating. Like considering they're going to have to spend the first half of the movie establishing Doctor Doom as a actual threat to our heroes, but the cast is so incredibly stacked that you're gonna have like these 30 superheroes like just walking around. Like apparently it's going to be like 10 times bigger than Infinity War. So it's like it sounds like it's going to be a jumbled mess. So I'm going into that sort of hype train sort of wary, and I'm going into the hype train. I keep I keep just like rambling today. I am not hyped for Avengers Doomsday. I think that it's just not going to be very good. I wish I could be hyped for it if it weren't for one, the onslaught of AI, two, the incredibly shaky production that this movie is coming along with, and just like the premise of like these like Doctor Doom is the next big bad, but we haven't even seen him yet. It's like why should I even care? I don't know. It's just a whole like a big nothing burger of an announcement. I feel like I don't know. Just it's disappointing to see Marvel the way that they are right now. But anyways, ending on a bit of a lighter note, there is a lot of stuff to look forward to. Um, Lots of great movies that I am going to see in theaters, and also lots of great movies just out there in general. Even if you are not paying attention to the new movies at all, there are so many movies out there. Like I'm telling y'all, I was watching movies that were in like different languages these past couple days, and it really opened my eyes as to like, wow, there are so many movies outside of America that are like genuine works of art that I could be watching right now. And it's super exciting to see projects like that pop up, and like it being like sort of like classics that I can discover for the first time in my own home theater. And like I think that just goes to show that the art of cinema spans so many decades, so many countries, that it's really just like an endless work of art. And while the newer movies are pretty exciting, they might not fit everyone's expectations. And that's okay because there is a movie out there for everyone. And I hope that you find those movies that you cherish and hold on to those. So, yeah, all of that, all the movies that are coming out today, they're just some absolute Falcon cinema that I'm super looking forward to. I'm very looking forward to. Pardon me. I am super tired if you can't tell. Holy cow, I have had a long week. But, anyways, I will see y'all in the next episode. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Take care, y'all.